Okay, excellent. All right, let me just let everybody in, give a brief introduction, and then Constantine, I'll turn it over to you. All right, welcome everyone. We've just got the last few folks joining us, so welcome everyone. My name is Lara Villamont, she, hers. I'm the head of outreach and community experience at the Framingham Public Library. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's event, Voices of Ukraine. A few quick notes. We will not have a chance to do any live questions, and we have not received any questions in the questionnaire so far. So probably not a lot of opportunity to ask any questions this evening, but we're very eager to hear our speakers' perspectives and insights into their experiences. Tonight's program is being recorded, so if you have anybody, if you know anybody who is not able to attend this evening, please point them to the Framingham Public Library YouTube page. They'll be able to watch the event. Usually it's up within a day or so, no later than the end of this week. I'll be adding an evaluation form for the library into our chat box. Please feel free to click the link after the program is over to share your thoughts with us. Please do make sure that you wait until the session has completely ended, because it will send you to another page, and we want you to make sure that you get everything you can out of the event tonight. If you fill out the form, you'll also have the opportunity to sign up for our mailing list. And because we are the library, we'll never send you anything other than information about other fantastic programs. We're honored tonight to have Konstantin Starikov operate as our moderator. So I would like to go ahead and turn the evening over to him. Welcome, Konstantin.
Great. Thank you so much, Lara. Thank you so much to Framingham Public Library for this opportunity. This is our second event titled Voices from Ukraine, or of Ukraine, to be exact. And today we are having a somewhat informal conversation in which we talk about ourselves. So today our guests are Irina. Irina Sachs lives in Framingham, just like I do. We're neighbors, and she is currently working at Ukrainian Resettlement Case. She is currently a Ukrainian Resettlement Case Manager at Jewish Family Services, and she's also a volunteer at Sunflower of Peace. Here today is a very good friend of mine, my schoolmate from many, many years ago, Valentin Spasiba. So he is a lawyer by profession, and he is from the same city as I am, from Kharkiv. And also kindly join us today, Mariana Semenyuk. She is a psychologist, and Mariana is originally from Western Ukraine, Drohobych, and she already participated in the program last time. So it's nice to see Irina and Mariana again. And Valentin, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Now, some of us lived in the United States or been in English-speaking countries for a long time. So, and I think Mariana and Valentin are better off if we speak somewhat slowly. So also, if we need any translations from Ukrainian or from Russian, please excuse us as we try to find the right words for you. So having said that, I also would like to thank all of you who are listening in right now, or those of you who will be listening to us in the future on a YouTube channel. Certainly share this content with as many people as you can to help the people from Ukraine and help us in stopping this war. And even though you can't, it sounds like we are not able to get direct questions from you today, but certainly do share it, like it, comment, send us questions. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions offline. All right, so I will begin. And if I could begin with Valentin first, because he's in Zurich, Switzerland, and it's 1 o'clock right now, a.m. So I would like to give him a chance to tell about himself, and then if he gets too tired, then he might leave. But Vale, I'll start with you, and maybe you want to introduce yourself and tell us your life story.
Okay, I'll try. I don't speak English very well, but I try say something. My name is Valentin Spasiba. Now I'm 46, near the 46 years old. I live in Kharkiv till the war, beginning of the war. In 1999, I graduated from National Academy of Ukraine. I finished evening faculty, and during my study in National Academy, I worked in several organizations, except in court, in our court, Kharkiv court. After my finish of National Academy, I made a decision and founded my own law company and start to work as advocate. My special competition, my special knowledge is tax law, is financial law, is corporate law, all near the business. In 1990, in 2002, we are married, have a marriage with my girl. We studied in law academy, and after our finished of law academy, we have a marriage. Now I try to show you some pictures. You see?
Yes, we can see. Yeah. This is a happy couple.
Yeah, it's my wife, and now we have in this picture 4 children, but now we have 5 children. Maria, Sofia, Mikhail, Anna, and Emilia. Emilia, no, not in these pictures.
Can you tell us a little bit about the shirts your children are wearing?
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes, it's mother of my.
Валя, можешь сказать о рубашке, которые на фотографии? Да, что это за рубашки?
It's Gorky Park in Kharkiv. It's our central park. It's our very beautiful place in Kharkiv. Many people come to our park, and exact from the Belgrade. Many people from Belgrade came. Many years they came to our city and have a rest in our water park. Have rest in our cinema, theaters, go to our shops, to our markets, buy some clothes, products. So Russian people were very good now that in Kharkiv people not against the Russians. We are not want to make a war or battle. We want to peace and live in peace with our neighbors.
And the shirts, are these Ukrainian shirts that they're wearing, or are these hard, like the shirts, вишиванки, так?
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. We'll skip that question. I think I'm pushing too hard. But I think those are Ukrainian traditional shirts called vyshyvanki, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong.
From my very youth, I'm wanted to be a farmer, and in I think 7 or 8 years ago, we finished build our house in village near the Kharkiv, and we start to live in a village near the Kharkiv. And after that, we buy some lands, some fields near our home, and we start our business as a farmer. It's not business. It's I think it's a hobby. It's for soul. It's not a business because.
So you practice law and you became a farmer.
Yes. And all my money I have as a law business. I put in this farm. So it's some pictures from our farm. It's our field. Near the 35 or 40 kilometers to the border of Ukraine and Russia. And near the 70 kilometers to the Belgorod, this Russian town. From which Russian army is shooting to now to our village. So we bought the animals. It's our cows, and it's our goats. It's a special honor to me. Our goats is American dairy goats. It goes from America, and our bucks have certificate. It's 100% breed American Dairy Goat Association, ADGA. So it's our farm. That's our cows. It's our goats.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened to your cows after the war started?
It's my daughter. Now я сейчас скажу. After we built the farm, we learned to make a cheese with my wife. And this is cheese school. Some pictures with my wife. It's our cheese equipment and some ballerines from our theater. We asked to make a photo in our home. It's so my wife is make near the 40 near the 40 kind of cheese. Near the 40 kind of cheese, and we sell our cheese in our own shop. It's photo of our shop. Yes, something like that. So our life our life was beautiful. We have all that we want to have. We have a house, we have a farm, we have a big family, but that But in 24th of February, all our lives was destroyed. Starting the war, we don't think it is not having our mind. It's Russia. It's our neighbor. We live near the Russia. Many people come to us from Russia. My wife was born in Russia. She's mother was born in Russia. Many our friends live in Russia, and we don't understand. We don't mean that Russia can attack our cities, our villages, our country. It's very difficult to understand, and it's very hard to us. So now all our animals I must sell. I sold my animals in west side of Ukraine. Near our village, every day Russia bombing from Belgorod. And each day we must read the news and call our friends in our village and ask it, are your and my houses is okay or no, or is destroyed, or each day our house may be destroyed. It's the last pictures I want to show. One pictures is I can do it. It's pictures when the Russia start to attack. Just 1 second. I want to show you. Oh, you see? Question.
Oh, not yet. No.
Not? You see? Not see?
No. You might have to change. Yeah, you might have to change the window. Mm-hmm. But these are the pictures you took before you left. Yes.
No.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can see.
Yes, I want to show how when Russian bombing to our villages, we must go to our not from. We must go to как подвал по-английски, Кость?
Basement.
Basement. We must go to basement and wait in basement when the bombing attack will finish. So now we live in Zurich. We must left all our home or our farm or our life and went to Zurich. Now we in safety, stay in safety, but I think we lost all of we have in our life, all the builds in our life, all that we create in our life by this kind. And we can make others plans to our life in future. We don't know what happen in future in our countries, in our villages, in our city. Now we want to stay in Zurich near some maybe 4 or 5 months, and if this war is not stopped, I want to try to find the job in Canada. This now planets this.
So your whole life was uprooted. Your whole life was changed after
Yes.
just. Yes.
Yes.
Vale, I'm gonna stop you here, just not simply because, I mean, there's so many things I think that each of you can tell us, and there's a lot more. If you're gonna stay around, I'll give you a chance to ask, tell you, so that you tell us about your experience in Switzerland, and I know you're volunteering. But maybe I could also switch to Mariana, because I know Mariana is from Western Ukraine. So I think you and I, we both were born in eastern part of Ukraine, which is more Russian speaking, and where Mariana is coming from, it's different. So Mariana maybe could talk about her experience and what it was like after February 24th.
Okay, yeah. My name is Mariana Semenyuk. I am from Drohobych, from western part of Ukraine. And first day when the war started, I remember it was in the morning, and I heard some noises, some planes, airplanes noises, and everyone started to call me that the war started. And my friends, even in like Western Ukraine, they were very scared because they heard bombing all over in our region. And also my relatives from eastern part of Ukraine, they start calling me, and it was very scareful. I got like panic. I didn't know what to do, and my husband also didn't know what to do. And
I think we can hear you. Can you hear us? I think you muted yourself. Unmute? Yeah, I think you muted yourself.
Yeah. Right now it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, and me and my husband, we decided that I should go to the Poland, and the next day of the war, I went to the Poland, but without my husband, because he was not allowed to cross the border of Ukraine, since all men, they are not allowed to leave Ukraine right now. And it was very long way for me to cross this border to Poland. I live very close. We live very close to Poland, like 1 hour by car. But that time there were a lot of people who wanted to go to Poland, and I remember even in the border, Ukrainian and Poland border, there were like thousands people staying, and I was walking just 8 hours to cross the Poland border. But when it's like when it was how it was before, you could cross the border just for 5 minutes, but people were very scared, and like thousands of people were in this crowd crossing the border, and I even thought that I would die in that crowd. It was very scary. And then I went to Poland just with one bag with me. And after when I was in Poland, I met with my friends, missionary friends. They were with Christian organization from all over the world, and they were helping people spiritually and psychologically and physically. And as I am a psychologist, and I'm also a Christian, and I used to be a nurse, so I help people a lot over there, and there were different stories and people from all over Ukraine. They were in the refugee centers, and they were very scared, and it was very hard time for them. Many of them, they lost their homes and families. And I was there 3 weeks, and after that I went to the United States to my family, where my sister and my parents they live. And right now I'm here for 4 months, but my husband is still in Ukraine.
Mariana, I'm showing pictures that you shared with me during our last meeting. I don't know if everyone can see it, but can you see the pictures? Yeah, so these are the pictures.
Yeah, that's pictures from Przemysl, and I also was in Warsaw and different cities in Poland, and we were helping over there with food, and I was humanitarian aid, and there were people like from different countries volunteering, and it was so amazing that so many people from many countries came to Poland to help. And this picture is from the border. There were many kids crossing the border and many families. It was very hard time for them because some of them, they were crossing, standing on their feet like for 24 hours.
Can you talk about this picture? I know it has a
this picture.
Meaningful too.
It's a building in Irpin. It's near Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. I was there before the war. I was there on my best friend wedding, and it was very nice place, and there was a big restaurant, very good restaurant. They just opened it, very good Christian people. They just opened that restaurant, but it was destroyed when the war started. Yeah.
These are the people who are willing to cross into Poland.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. Irina, can you tell us about your family, your story?
Yeah, it's hard to collect my thoughts after Mariana's story. Every time, this is the second time I hear her story, and it gets me about the same as last time. It's really like, we know that this is happening. We know it's happening to millions of people, but then you speak with one person, and you realize that it's that it's true, and it's hard. My name is Irina. I came to the US a little over 10 years ago. I live in Framingham. I have 2 kids, 5 and 9. Thank you for having me at the Framingham Public Library event. This is a very special time for me, since I adore Framingham Public Library. It's I have the best memories. I've checked out thousands of books. I'm not even joking. I actually went into the record one day to see how many, because every time I leave the library, I think to myself, I'm so lucky to have such library around in our neighborhood. So I'm a teacher by profession, teacher of English. And I've heard of Sunflower of Peace, the nonprofit organization that's been helping Ukraine since 2014. I've heard about the organization here and there on Facebook, on social media, but I thought this is incredible, but I never knew the founder.
So when the war started on day one, I reached out to the founder of the organization that was helping Ukrainian people, and I offered my help. Also, many of my husband's family all over the U.S., you know, his friends, everybody was reaching out asking how they can help. Obviously, people were donating money, but it didn't seem like it was enough to do, and people wanted to do something, donate something tangible. So I knew that Sunflower Peace is sending medical backpacks to Ukraine. I didn't know much about it at that time. So I reached out to Katya Malachova, who's the founder of Sunflower Peace, and I asked, you know, what goes into those backpacks. So she sent me a list, and I created an Amazon wish list, which I then shared with my family and friends. And I thought it would be, you know, a quick way for my family to donate items to create those medical backpacks. But little did I know that overnight, you know, 1,000 items were purchased of the list. This is a different story you're showing, and that's kind of how I got involved with Sunflower Peace. And it was, I'm grateful that I was, and I am part of it. Sunflower Peace has sent over 1,000 medical backpacks to paramedics on the front lines in Ukraine, saving, you know, we'll never know how many lives, but it's over and over and over to different parts of Ukraine. Even the hottest, most dangerous spot, those backpacks were delivered by the bravest people in Ukraine. There's video on it of actually, there's a video of volunteers delivering medical backpacks, and as they're driving, they're being, you know, attacked, and they're being like, you know, like, you know, by some Russian, you know, weapons, but they didn't stop. They just kept going and going, and they delivered backpacks into the right hands. And it was just one video of hundreds that, you know, that's how it's done. So lots and lots of people are involved in the beginning. You know, we kind of, everybody wanted to help. So there were several people who joined Sunflower Peace team, and somehow together we were able to make really great progress. And I think it would be hard to believe what we accomplished in about 2 weeks. There was the amount of money we raised. We were retweeted by Cindy Crawford and, you know, celebrities, you know, on Instagram and, you know, other social media platforms. Sarah Jessica Parker, you know, said, you know, please, people, donate to Sunflower Peace. So it was really helpful to raise money, and it was good that people were donating a lot, because as we all see, the attention slowed down. You know, Ukraine is not the #1, you know, topic on the news, and, you know, and donations are slowing down and help is slowing down. So but in the first couple of months, it was, you know, it was great. Sunflower Peace continues to do the most amazing things. We're known for sending backpacks, but there's so much more than that.
I'm showing pictures of
this is a separate project that, you know, since day one we were focusing on medical backpacks and on medicine for hospitals, because it was obviously the most critical items to ship. But we were heartbroken that there wasn't any capacity to send hygienic products and baby products, just because of the logistics and all kinds of things that need to be done to ship it. So we couldn't do it in the beginning, but then eventually, once the medication side was well established, we thought, we can now send humanitarian aid. So I was the lead person for this project, and it started in May. And most of the items were collected in Framingham area. So over 2 months, I was collecting on the weekends, diapers, wipes, shampoos, soaps. You know, I advertised it on Framingham Source and on social media, and people were amazing. They went to the store and they would buy things off the list that I provided, and they would bring it, and I would pack it and pack it and pack it. So actually, a couple of days ago, we loaded everything on the truck, and it's in New Jersey, is going to be shipped any minute to Ukraine.
Wonderful.
So
That's
that's
wonderful.
it's wonderful because it's going to the organization that I personally know. The director of the organization, the aid is going to. It's in my hometown in Berdichev. This organization has been helping kids with minor disabilities for about 6 years, and as the war started, many people started leaving the eastern part of Ukraine and kind of moving towards the west, obviously, but a lot of people stayed in the central Ukraine, which is where my hometown is. So there are thousands of people right now that came with absolutely nothing, and they have nothing. They get no help. So this aid will definitely be very helpful to hundreds of families and thousands of people altogether. Not only children and women, but also disabled people who are not able to move much. This aid will be delivered, you know, to those houses, which it's always been. The owner is collecting aid from all over Europe. She's doing an incredible job. So this is the one shipment that will come from America, which is very special to her, to receive it from someone who, you know, lived in the same town.
That's wonderful. I think a lot of people I talk to, and especially a lot of Ukrainians who are still in Ukraine, they're very grateful. I mean, they're grateful in general for all the help they get, but also they helpful directly to people like you. So, for example, that's, I think, why we try to promote events like this, so that you can see that these are real people, real faces, you know, real life stories, and especially the volunteers too. I mean, I think my next question is perhaps, which could be of interest to for our community, is what are your interactions with both Americans, so who have no connection to Eastern Europe or Ukraine, and what are your experiences of talking to people who are Russian or are Ukrainian, who lived there for many, many years? Perhaps, Mariana, you could say a little bit, because you spent only 4 months here. So anything that kind of fresh observations, anything that caught your life about how you interact with people around you today?
Yeah. In the United States, yeah.
Yes.
There are different peoples and different thoughts, and I have met some people. It's mostly from Russia, and they have this point of view that they saving us. They still think that the Putin does a good job, and that Russia is saving Ukrainian people. So, and but they live here for a long time, like for many years, for 30 years, and they listening to the Russian television all the time, and they believe it. They believe that it's truth, that they helping Ukraine with all those bombs and everything. Yeah, it's mostly Russian people, but they live here like for 30 years. And some people, they even think that US started the war in Ukraine and the Russia helping Ukraine. So that's very interesting, because I have a question for them: why they live here in United States if they think that US so bad and Russia is so good. Yeah, and it's very good to live in Russia, and they live here and they use every help and every social help from United States.
So do you actually try to share your point of view? Do you try to convince them, or do you just simply walk away? I mean, how do you interact with these people?
Yeah, I just shared my point of view. Yeah, and yeah, but it's mostly like a little bit older people, mostly because they like to listen to Russian television. So it's very hard to change their mind in that age.
And you are in Minnesota, right? You're
Yeah.
So is there a large Ukrainian community where you are?
Yeah, there is a large Ukrainian and a large Russian community, and there is different Ukrainian and Russian people. There's very good Russian people who helps us a lot. So it's and yeah, there are a lot of people even in our neighborhood. Yeah.
So do you feel supported? Do you feel like you have still connection with Ukraine? You still connection with your community? Are you building a new community where you are? Do you feel like
yeah, I feel supported. We have here a huge Ukrainian community center, and also many Ukrainian churches and Slavic churches. So that's very good.
That's good. As a psychologist, I'm sure you have a lot of tricks under your sleeve that help you cope with the situation. Irina, what's your experience?
I'm thinking, I have, obviously after so many years and young kids, I have a lot of Russian friends, and my daughter went to Russian preschool, Russian speaking preschool, so I do know a lot of people, and unfortunately it's very different. It's not black and white, and unfortunately Russian people that live here can often no longer can speak with their family who live back in Russia, because the misinformation in Russia, it's so strong that they don't have a chance to think otherwise. It's, if they were to ask themselves a question, what if it's all true what the rest of the world is saying? I think a person could go crazy, because you realize you've been lied to your entire life. But yeah, I personally know people who no longer speak with their siblings or parents, and it's also heartbreaking. They're indirectly affected by this war.
Has it affected your family?
I do have family in Russia, but I was never really in touch with them. We were never close. So
did they ever try to contact you when this happened?
No, not when this happened, no. But I want to say that some of the volunteers at Sunflower Peace are Russian people, and they're some of the most amazing people I've ever met. There's this girl, Yulia, and I don't know what we'd do without her. She's selfless. She's just done so much, and with the humanitarian aid project, it's hard to ship, a truck full of stuff when you've never done this before. It was a lot of work to figure out the flyers, to figure out advertisement, to figure out where to print things, what format. And I've reached out to the mayor. It was a huge project, and she's been with me every step of the way. Whenever I needed help, with logistics, with anything, we have this amazing a guy who, I'm not sure if he's Ukrainian or Russian, but he's been using his moving company to move our product for almost 4 months, anytime we need him, for free, like he's volunteering. And now it's such a busy season and he's helping. He just came, took my 300 boxes of humanitarian aid. His octopus moving company, and he drove them to New Jersey. Like he would bring his guys, I needed 10 large tables. He would have them drive from Boston. It's resources, it's time, it's money.
What's his name?
Sergey.
Okay.
And whenever I need him, like the girl I'm talking about, she would get in touch with him right away. She's really great, and and she's building my Russian community. Like I'm grateful to amazing Russian people here who are supportive. It's and we have other Russian volunteers in the company who are the essence to the company, who are great minds. I mean, obviously everyone who's volunteering on a big scale are very bright people. This organization took off from being a one-woman run show to raising millions of dollars within several weeks. So we've obviously done something right.
Well, it sounds like you did a lot of things right. You also made friends, and a lot of you are very humble people, because like I asked, what's the person's name? You just say Sergey. So a lot of you don't even take credit. I mean, I think that's unfortunately that's the good side of human tragedy. That during human tragedy, good people do good things and bad people do bad things.
Yeah, I think people who are able to be within an organization volunteering, it's a small remedy for the soul to do something, to be helpful in some ways, and know you're not just sitting and just watching this on TV. And do some good, and and it's eventually going to be useful for someone in Ukraine.
Can I ask you both? So for we talked about sort of the Russian, Ukrainian communities, and sometimes they overlap. And a lot of times I get asked the question because I come from eastern part of Ukraine, and Russian is my first language. Although I do understand Ukrainian very well. I'm not as fluent as I would like to be in Ukrainian, but I can get by. But a lot of times people ask me, what's the difference between Russian and Ukrainian? And a lot of times I'm not sure how to explain. I mean, sometimes I say it's the difference between Portuguese and Spanish, but at other times I think it's a
Portuguese or Spanish?
False analogy, because I think as close as Ukrainians and Russian languages are, well, I'm curious to hear your opinion. Do you feel like Ukrainian? Mariana, is Ukrainian your first language, or what's your linguistic identity?
My first language is Ukrainian. Yeah. So
how would you say it's different from Russian?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but I know how to speak Russian, but because I was volunteering and I was a missionary for a long time in eastern part of Ukraine and in Crimea. And my husband, he is actually from Crimea, so he speaks Russian at home.
What about Irina? What's your take? How do you explain the difference between Russian?
The way I explain it, and it becomes more clear to people, is that most of Ukrainians can speak Russian, but Russians cannot speak Ukrainian. And that kind of tells you that they're not as so obviously they come from their Slavic languages and the linguistics, like the roots are the same. But Russians could not speak Ukrainian. They can understand probably most of it if you speak slowly, but they couldn't.
So what about going back to America? So Mariana, you, as I said, you probably have the freshest interactions. And how do Americans respond when you say you're from Ukraine, that you've been displaced? What's the first reaction?
Oh, they would say that they are very sorry, and how am I? And many people asking me, what do I need? Do I need some help? Do I need some clothing or food? Even some people, they just brought me some clothing. I didn't know them before. Yeah.
Did you discover anything about America that you felt that you, from the Ukrainian point of view, is it very much different from what you expected, or what's your experience?
Mm-hmm. I used to visit my sister before. It wasn't my first time here, but still, I love United States, and people here, they are very open, but still it's different life, different routine, and yes, sometimes that's like sometimes I still want to come back to Ukraine, even if the life is better here. Yeah.
Makes sense.
What about you, Irina? You've been here
Well,
for
I'm feeling all kinds of things, because with the new role that I'm in, as you mentioned in the beginning of I'm the Ukrainian Resettlement Case Manager, which is the position that was created specifically for a Ukrainian Russian speaking person who would be helping the newly arrived Ukrainians with, not just benefits, but, what I do is just try to welcome people and kind of make sure that they have the first kind of things that they need in the first couple of weeks. I meet a lot of families. I speak with a lot of families on the phone that just arrived. So for me, I really see what's happening with the in the community right now. Yeah, families, they come, but it's shocking that even though what's been happening, they're hoping to go back. They're hoping that when all of this is over, people, Ukraine is a beautiful country, not just the looks of it. The culture is very rich. People have really deep roots, and it's hard to come, especially under such circumstances. So yeah, people really are looking forward to go back. And interestingly enough, today a reporter came in and she wanted to interview me and another family that, just to see how JFS is helping newly arrived families. And the reporter spoke with me, and then she listened to the story that this mother with 2 kids, what she had to say, and she described everything in detail. So I really got a clear picture of everything from the start, how she waited in line, and how terrified she was, and how people behaved in line, how people, they were like waiting at the border, but it was like kilometers to the border, and how people that lived in the houses nearby, walked out and gave them water and food, like
a lot of hardships.
Yeah. So I listened to her story, and it's hard to listen to, because I've already know this woman for a few weeks. I've been helping her out, and just to imagine her and her 2 daughters go through that is just, I just refuse to believe that, this happened to her. It's too hard to think about it. But I'm glad that, this is the area where people can really get a lot of help. Like our community is really one of a kind. The response that Ukrainian families see, I think they're pretty surprised with how much warmth they're being welcomed. When I see on social media, when families arrive and they ask for clothes or ideas, resources, any information, people just reply. They say, just let me know. I want to drive you to a grocery store. I'll show you around. They reply with information, how to apply for this, or information on schools. So it's nice to see that, that I live and around me is amazing community that is helpful to. There's dozens of families in the area now already, and more coming.
I notice a lot of times. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to know that these families are well taken care of. Like I'm helping with to apply for benefits. Everybody's trying to figure it out. The policies are very new. We're all trying to make the best of it. We're all trying to get Ukrainians the most of everything they are eligible for, and it's a process. And in the meantime, I connect them with volunteers, and volunteers are, I think one of my volunteers have joined the Zoom. I saw her last name.
Oh, that's wonderful. And again, unfortunately, my friend Valentin also left simply because it's, as I said, it's 1 o'clock in Zurich, and today he worked as a volunteer himself, so he drove someone. I was hoping to hear where and why, but hopefully he's going to come back and tell us a little bit more about about his interactions with Swiss people and Swiss organizations, nonprofits, and yeah, I mean, there's just so many things to discuss. And there's one question actually in the chat. So someone is asking, is there any Ukrainian community that are gathering during the week to chat? Do you know of any chats online that perhaps we can
there are a couple of Facebook groups. You mean like just to get some information? There are a couple of Facebook groups that are incredibly helpful. Ukrainian House of Boston and Ukrainians in Boston, I believe, or Ukrainian Boston. It's Facebook is a very good source to find contacts for Ukrainians. I feel like it's a powerful tool for sure. Yeah,
we can also certainly ask Lara to perhaps include links to some resources. Maybe the library can help us connect people, and certainly we can do that. My wife and I organize music and poetry events, and we've been working closely with Sunflower of Peace, but there's more to be done. So yes, if you're interested, please contact us either through the Fremen Public Library or other ways on Facebook, etc. We're approaching 1 hour, so it feels like it just flew by, but perhaps those people who are listening and would like to ask any questions. I know that we initially said that we don't take questions, but that's because we're trying to keep it civilized, keep it politics free, keep it just to our story. So we are hoping that if you're okay asking any questions within that framework, and those questions that, again, especially when this first started, both Irina and Mariana had to just step aside because they were so tearful they couldn't even speak. So it is very traumatizing, and we just, for that reason, we thought that we're not going to take direct questions, but if you feel like your question is within the framework, and please, if Lara, if that's okay with you, then please,
Sure.
we'll take your questions.
Would we like to invite folks to type their questions into the chat?
Yeah, sure. You can type them in the chat or ask them directly. That's fine too.
Okay, I'll turn off the option so folks are able to unmute themselves as well.
Or perhaps maybe you can, or maybe you want to tell your story. So that's what we're here for, to tell stories and support each other to see the other side of the war.
All right, so I've turned off the option. So if you have a question or if you have a perspective you'd like to share, please feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat, and I'm happy to read it out loud. Just do please make sure to abide by the guidelines that Konstantin has given us.
While we're waiting, maybe you're thinking how to formulate a question. I can say that I personally, my story is that I was born in Kharkiv. I came to this country when I was a teenager, even not a teenager. I turned 13 just a month ago. So I spoke Russian. A lot of times when I got asked where you're from, I would just say I'm from Russia, because it just was simple. People had no idea where Kharkiv is. And unfortunately, people find out where places on the earth are when there are conflicts and wars and things like that. So now most people, I would say maybe some Americans know where Kharkiv is because of what's happening. But I also had to rethink my identity because of Jewish background, Ukrainian background, and I have a PhD in Russian literature, so I'm teaching Russian. So it's very, very complex and very difficult. My friend, actually, Valentins and my friend, we both were in the same class, and he was a volunteer in Kharkiv, and he got killed. And when that happened, I spoke with him 2 weeks prior, and I wasn't myself for 2 or 3 days. I couldn't think straight. It was just unbelievable. And maybe during next event, I would share his story and I'll tell about him. But that's just one example how this war touched me personally. So I don't see any questions. People are probably just listening in. If you don't have any questions, Irina and Mariana, do you have anything else to add tonight? Anything that I'm really grateful for your participation.
I'm grateful that, for the event you organized a couple of months ago, a lovely event, a musical event performed by professional musicians that benefited Sunflower of Peace. Me and my other volunteer brought some beautiful art by local Ukrainian artists. It was such a lovely, memorable event, and we got donations. We showed off our medical backpack to people who were interested what goes into the backpack. So it was a really nice way to support an organization in Ukraine and to show that this is what I do to support. This is my way, and people have all kinds of people donate their skills, their time, their energy. All kinds of ways are available to support Ukrainian people. And then Konstantin did another event like that recently, which I'm also really grateful for.
At Framingham Public Library, so thank you to Laura and to the library team, and we're more than happy to continue organizing events, educating people. If you are interested in Ukrainian culture or other many cultures in Ukraine, Ukraine is very diverse, has roots going back to thousands and thousands of years. So many people live there, continue to live there. And there are a lot of interesting stories, including Russian culture. So again, it's very unfortunate that that Putin's regime is actually turning Russian-speaking people against Russia, and it's just a tragedy, I think. So
We do have a question in the
Yeah, of course.
comments. Judy wonders if there are other events. Judy, the Framingham Library doesn't have any currently scheduled, but in Constantine, Arena, and Mariana, I don't know if you have any on the books that folks might like to attend coming up.
Well, connect with us. Again, we connect with Sunflower of Peace if you
I would, and I've met Judy. She's my amazing volunteer for JFS. Her and her husband, if that's the person I'm thinking, they kindly offered their help. The best way would be to follow a Ukrainian organization, and often those, for example, Sunflower of Peace, because those events are always posted on the Facebook page, and that way people know, whenever we need volunteers, we just post it on the page. Whenever there's an event, we post it. And I had posted the event Konstantin and his wife ran on Sunflower of Peace page. That way people were able to learn about it.
Yeah, so if you are interested in connecting with us, we'll be more than happy to become friends and learn from each other. That's what we're here for. So, and of course, the library itself is a great place to meet. So if there are any meetups, again, there's different ways to meet up. So if the library is okay with us meeting and using their space, we'll be more than happy to do that as well.
And we actually have a hand up from Irina.
It's a different.
Yes.
Oh, different Irina.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Hi.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. This is my first time attending this event. I live in Framingham, and I really think this is great gathering. I am Ukrainian who lives in Boston for like 10 years, and I actually had my father who arrived to Ukraine recently. And he's really struggling to find friends. And I thought that this event would be really great for him, but I figured everyone speaks English here. So I'm just wondering, is there anything like similar for people who just arrived from Ukraine, but they can speak Ukrainian? Obviously, he's willing to learn English, but he's really struggling his first couple of days in US. Is there anything similar to people who just arrived? I'm just wondering.
I wouldn't know, but I do know that more and more people are arriving, and
Exactly.
People of different ages, really, weekly. So I'm sure at some point very soon, it would be a good idea, and you can be, you could even organize something like that and advertise it on. Not advertise it, like let people know on social media that hey, why don't we go to the park? My father is here. If you're interested, if you're, a lot of parents are arriving to their children who have been living here. You could even organize these events, which I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate. Right now, I don't think there are any in this area, but I'm pretty sure it will change very quickly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just feel like there are a lot of people who are just staying in the house and just dealing with paperwork, but then they realize that they're really missing home and they're like looking for opportunity to connect and speak.
Yeah, you're not the first person to ask that. Someone came into the office the other day, and this person said, her parents had just arrived and they're looking for company. And I was thinking to myself, it will change. A lot of people will arrive, and it'll be nice to get together.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking on my behalf, I'll be more than happy to organize or to connect people. So if you want to connect with me, then, and again, we've got Irina and Mariana. Beautiful. A wonderful circle, which we I think can use our skills and strengths to put something together. So if you don't feel like organizing events like that, we'll be more than happy to do that for you.
And I did find a Facebook group called Ukrainian Boston that looks like it's like a group that's sort of intended to connect people.
Yeah, a challenge for at least for those people who are Ukrainian speaking and they're looking forward to speaking Ukrainian, I think, yes, those pages like that are very useful. But I think, and another reason why we're doing this event today is that we're also trying to connect different cultural worlds. So for example, if some of you who are Americans and they want to get together and play chess, let's say the Friendly Public Library with Irina's father, even though you don't speak, maybe he doesn't speak English well, but maybe you're pretty good at chess, and that interaction itself can enrich your lives. So things like that.
I think it's a great idea, and lately more and more I've been thinking that our library is a great way to start organizing some small group events, because it's the one place family members will know to bring people. It's an easy to find place, easy location. But I wanted to specifically ask at some point about the English language classes, because I know how eager people are to learn English. And even aside from that, people feel like they're missing out by not doing any classes. They feel terrible that they feel like they're wasting their time here. I was wondering, maybe there could be something organized specifically for Ukrainian families, but that's something we can discuss on a different day. But I just thought that would be really wonderful.
I mean, it's a great idea. We certainly have a robust English language program here at the library, but it is very popular. So I know that there's a waiting list in order to attend the classes. I also know that they try to partner volunteer English speaking tutors with people who want to learn English from whatever language background. And that doesn't always necessarily have the same wait time. It's just whether or not there are enough volunteer tutors and aligning schedules. So I'm certainly happy to, connect with that department and see what we can put together for folks that are for a specific language background. And then overall, we've got, our language learning program. We also have a number of resources that are sort of more self-study. So of course, lots of books or books on tape or anything like that. And then we also have a really fantastic database called Mango, which it's like Duolingo, but it's a higher quality language learning database because it is a subscription based, and the library pays for it to provide it to the Framingham community for free. Wow. So it's high quality, paid for database that the community, by using the library, that's where it comes from basically. So, and that has pretty much any language learning background. It does ask you to sign in with an email address and a password. And that's because it's a language learning database that customizes the process to each person. So that's just the requirement so that the language learning database knows where you left off next time you come back. So off the top of my head, those are some resources that, we'd love to provide our community.
Wow, that is very useful information. Thank you. I will relay that to my Ukrainian clients. They'll be so happy to check that out. Thank you.
Well, I think we're more than over an hour. And again, unless there are other questions, I don't see any questions in the chat at this moment, or unless you want to take this last chance to ask your question. I thank you very much. In Ukrainian, how do we say thank you? Дякую. Дякую. If you're one person, we дякуємо. So thank you so much, дякуємо. And we hope to see you again in person and hopefully online. Thank you so much to Framingham Public Library and to Lara for hosting this event, and to our guests who are now, I feel like we're friends, and I hope we will continue to do these events all over the world.
Thank you for keeping it very positive. This is what we all need right now. This is a nice, nice positivity to the
wonderful. So do like it, do comment, and check out the Framingham Public Library YouTube channel. We'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you to our speakers for sharing your stories. And, you know, just hearing it is so impactful, and it means so much coming directly from people who, you know, have that experience and are willing to share it with us, because I know that can be very tough. So thank you so much for being willing to do that with us. Thank you, everybody who are our guests tonight, for joining us. If you do know some folks who would love to hear from about the program and weren't able to be here, just check out youtube.com/Framingham Public Library. The video will be up there and it'll remain up there. And then check out the library or give us a call if you're interested in some of the resources that we talked about tonight.
Thank
Have a
you.